Alright, and welcome back. Moving right along with Camaro, we have made a color choice. Believe it or not, I had these four color choices up there because these were all options that I was definitely considering. And you guys overwhelmingly wanted the green. And so, who am I to say no? That was definitely one of the ones that I was thinking about. But I was unsure whether or not that was going to look good on a Camaro, but Steve says his neighbor has one in Hunter Green. And so they do exist. And so we're going to see what this looks like. It's going to be a bit different. It is going to be a green Camaro. And of course, you're probably already wondering, what do you do with the hood scoop if it's a dark green? Well, we're gonna paint the scoop black anyway, because the back of the decal there's a white stripe that goes on the side, and the background on that decal is black. So the scoop still needs to be black. So we will paint it green and then mask it and then paint that black. And then we're also going to have this interesting situation here with the bottom of the headlight there. See how you're going to have to mask that, and the kind of the grill is going to be a bit challenging, but also might look good just green. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But what we're about to do is a little bit of body work. As you can see here, the body is in really good shape in terms of sinkholes, but we've got a seam right there that we've got to get rid of. And then there's another one in the back, right about there on both sides. And we'll look for more just to make sure that we get those all sanded off. And then of course you can see all these little tiny spots. They're probably just little specks of dirt. And the primer is spraying pretty clean. We got to get all these little fuzz balls off of there. So it's just a quick spot sanding and clean up before we paint. We're not going to reprime, and then we are good to go. And the hood as well, and we're just going to give it a light sanding and paint away, because Rust-Oleum doesn't really need primer. The primer is really just here for spot filling. You have to do a lot of sanding on the wing, but then after all that, it'll be dark green. So I will come back after all the sanding is ready, and then we'll go paint it. Okay, so here we go. We've got the body all prepped. Many parts of it I didn't do anything at all because it was all nice and smooth. All those little specks, some of them just popped right off the second you touched them, which means it was just a piece of lint or something. Others took some sanding. There was a seam right at the edge of the hood there. Had to get rid of that one on both sides. You can get just closer here. You can see there I had to sand right at the top of the fender there because that is where the seam ran. You can see it better on this side. Oh, so the black you see was me using a fine tip Sharpie trying to fill in the seam, because sometimes when you paint, you know what I'm talking about, and your seam is white, or in this case gray, sometimes it doesn't fill, and we'll see what happens there. But you can see the main seam there, sorry about the jet, is sanded, and the ones in the back here sanded, and there was a pretty mean edge right over the top of where that little wing extension is. Had to get that off there, and at the edges of the wheel openings. So the hood was pretty much ready. I just took a couple of specks off of there and ended up doing quite a bit of sanding on the rear wing. And actually, I'm seeing here in the camera we still got some specks, but I don't know if that's a speck or a hole. What we got there? Not gonna focus on it, that's for sure. It's a hole. I kind of really want to paint right now. Let's see if we can fill up that hole with paint. So that's what we're going to do now. We are going to paint. Stick it out there and make it green. So this is where we at so far. We just had a minor catastrophe happen. We have about one more coat to go, but halfway through this one we had the famous, since we're using an old can, we had the famous clogged tip. As you can see, I've got it all over my finger. I couldn't figure out quickly what was happening, and I rushed to determine that it was the tip and not the snorkel down there in the can. Determined that it's the tip, so I went running for any other can that had the same kind of tip. I don't even know what can this is, but grabbed the tip, put it on the green can, and started spraying again. So did we rescue it? I don't know, but we had the body was halfway through its second coat, and so I had half of it kind of flash dry as I was running for the garage to get another can. And so I don't know, we got to put I'm gonna put on one more coat here and hope for the best, but it's spraying good now. This is why you use brand new cans every time, guys. Okay, alrighty, and there it is. That is a green Camaro. Look at that. And I gotta say, yeah, that is a good choice. Definitely unique. We definitely have primers showing up in the seams, but we're gonna have to do quite a bit of work anyway, because I'm sure you're seeing the orange peel. So it's true, we do have some orange peel, but if you're looking at those areas that we prepped, at least they're smooth. One in the front there, looking good. And then the hood. Now this, of course, if you remember, it's kind of a different mixture of primers, and it was definitely different plastic, because look at that, we've got a kind of a groove from the sandpaper right there in the middle. We're totally leaving that. But we clearly have orange peel, which is okay, because we also have a speck of something in there that we got to get out of there. And then the rear wing, same thing, all the paint's there, we just got to work it. I can usually get out of having to do polishing, but not this time, not so lucky. But that is it. This is not a long video. This is me just saying, I hear you when you say paint it green, and so there it is, it's green. Of course, it's gonna have to like cure for a week. It's pretty thick coat, and I can't do a mock-up, because if I put the hood on now, it'll stay there. Alright, well that wraps it up for today's video, and stay tuned for more. We're not doing the body for like a week, because that has got to cure a lot for polishing, and so we will be working on things like the chassis. So stay tuned.